G'day everybody, thank you for tuning back into Albatross Barbecue. So I've done pork belly a number of different ways in the past. I've done them via skewers, I've done them pork belly bites, I've done it in the oven. But today what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare my pork belly. I'm then going to leave it, I'm going to get my Kamado out, we're going to get some smokiness through it, and we're going to try and crisp up that pork belly skin to make some beautiful crackling. So stick around. Thanks guys. So let's start by getting out our pork belly. As you can see, this is not vacuum sealed, and that's what I want. It is scored, which isn't fantastic. I prefer it to be unscored, but I don't want it to be vacuum sealed because I want to get the moisture out of the skin. In terms of the preparation, hardly anything that I've got to do. There's a little bit of silver skin, membrane type of thing there, so I'm just going to cut that away, and as you can see, I've got some lovely pork belly underneath. So let's jacquard this so I can poke multiple holes into my belly. The reason why I'm doing that is to draw the moisture out of the skin, but also when we do turn that temperature up and try and get some crackling, we want it to pop. You'll notice here that I'm double boating. I've got some cling film, glad wrap, whatever you want to call it. The reason for that is because I want to try and keep the moisture in the meat itself, not the skin. And then I've got my foil, and again, I'm just protecting the meat, a little bit of salt on top of that skin so I can draw some moisture out. So the goal is moisture out the skin, but retain it in the meat. So that was a pretty easy prep, wasn't it? I've got my pork belly here, I'm going to put it in the fridge. If you've seen a couple of my other videos in the past, I've said, look, best to go 48 hours. I've done 24 hours in the past, and the results I've said would be so much better if you put it in for up to 48 hours. So for this video and today, this is what we're going to do. This is going to sit in the fridge now, 48 hours. In it goes, no need to do anything else. So fast forward 48 hours, and before I go and get the meat out, let's set ourselves up with our acorn Kamado. I've got my wood lump charcoal as well as some briquettes shoved over to one side, and I've also got myself some apple wood chunks. Let's light it up and get this thing going. Now that's going, let's go and get our pork belly. As you can see, the skin has changed colour. It's also a lot harder, which is great news. Taking a look at the meat side, and as you can see, it still looks like it's retained a lot of moisture. So let's season our meat, and today I'm going to hit this thing with some yellow mustard just to act as a bit of a binder, and then to keep it simple, I've got Lane's signature rub here. This goes beautifully with pork. I'm trying to be as careful as I can to not get any of this rub on the skin though. Our grill setup. I'm hitting 200 to 220 degrees Fahrenheit, so I'm closing off my dampers, throwing in my apple wood chunks, my heat deflector so I can go low and slow, and then I've got my grill, and then lastly, with these acorn Kamados, it's got an awesome little attachment here so you can get vegetables or whatever on top of the grill, but I'm putting this meat here because I get all the smoke coming up the top of the grill. It's near the vents. I've got a water pan underneath to help control and regulate that temperature, a little bit of salt, and off we go. So we're going to let this smoke away now, get some beautiful apple flavour from that smoke. I've got my top damper just below the one, my bottom damper just below the one to help me maintain that 225 to 250 Fahrenheit. Now sit back and let the acorn Kamado do its job. We are now just over 1 hour into the smoking process. I'm probably going to give it a good 2 to 2.5 hours of smoke, get it to about 165 to 170 degrees Fahrenheit. I've been maintaining about 230. Let's take a quick peek and see how it's coming along. The pork belly is taking on some beautiful smoke colour, both in the meat and the skin. Okay, so just under 2 hours into the cook, I'm hitting 160 degrees Fahrenheit internal for this pork. So I just want to have a little look to make a decision if I want to start the crackling now or give it another 5 to 10 degrees. Sure enough, another 5 to 10 minutes is what I gave to get it to 165, but just look at the colour of that skin and that meat. Let's pull this off. Now what I decided to do is pull everything off, including the heat deflector. I want to go hot and fast now. With the coal that I've got shoved over to one side, I've got one more fire starter so I can get this up to temperature really quickly, which is about 500 degrees Fahrenheit. I decided to reboat the pork so I could get that meat nice and tender. I want to get it to about 200 degrees, and then I've got myself a little bit of olive oil as well as some salt so I can try and crisp up this skin. So to try and get our crackling, we're now getting our acorn up to about 500 degrees Fahrenheit to finish off this cook. This is why I had my coal over to one side, so I didn't want the meat directly over that heat source. Just keep monitoring, and in no time at all, you'll start to see some crackling appear. Turn it round to make sure it is cooked evenly. That skin is so dry, I can already see it starting to burn on the edges. So quick temperature validation, let's pull this thing off. Australian summer. These damn flies want my crispy pork belly, which is why I've been covering up. So, let's give it the all-important taste test and see how she is. That's smoky. That's crispy. That's delightful. Maybe overdone a little bit on the actual crackling, but I wanted to get it that little bit extra crispier because I was a little bit unsure on a couple of parts, but it's good. It's smoky. It's delicious. I'm really happy with that result. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you again in the next video. Take care of yourselves. Catch you later. The meat was super juicy, as you can see. I was happy with the result. I wasn't 100% happy because that skin, it was so dry. It crackled in no time at all. A couple of minutes less and it probably would have been a much better result. But it was a very smoky color. It was still crackly. It was still crunchy. It was juicy. It was tasty. Wasn't a bad effort at all. Thanks for watching, guys.